This training will focus on the process of verification and how to complete the annual verification report. The topics this training will cover include overview of the verification process, information needed for verification, and how to complete the verification report, FNS 742. Verification is a USDA requirement. It is the process of confirming the eligibility information reported on the household applications for students receiving free and reduced price meal benefits. 3% of all applications must be verified. Students on the direct certification list are not included in the verification process. They are already verified as eligible for meal benefits based on the direct match with the databases for SNAP, TANF, foster, and income-based Medicaid. SFAs are required to verify at least one application. USDA does not allow SFAs to verify all applications. Verification can begin anytime after the application approval process has started. Schools can verify questionable applications for cause. However, you must be careful that you are not violating a person's civil rights. For cause applications are in addition to the required number of applications that must be verified. All selected applications must be verified once the process has started. There are two types of verification sampling used in Nebraska: alternate or random sampling and standard or error-prone sampling. We will review each type. The school district sample pool is based on the number of applications on file as of October 1st. Remember, an application is a piece of paper, not the number of students who qualify for free or reduced meals. Also, if you determine the number of applications you have on file on October 1st, it will not include households that may still be on carryover from last year and have not turned in a meal application for the new year. Let's begin by discussing an alternate or random sample. Random sampling is the most common type of verification used. By definition, each application has an equal chance of being selected. The sample size is 3%. Do not include directly certified students when selecting households to verify. There are a number of ways to randomly select applications. You can use a computer-generated list, or they can be picked by hand. Determining sample size, here is an example of how to calculate the number of applications to verify. The school district has 125 approved applications, which are subject to being selected for verification. To determine the number of applications that are required to be verified, 125 is multiplied by 3%, which equals 3.75. In verification, if the calculation results with any part of a decimal, you always round up to the next number. So 3.75 rounds up to 4 to verify. The other type of verification sampling is standard or error-prone. By definition, this method involves targeting applications within $100 monthly or $1,200 annually of the income guidelines to become the verification pool. It is required in school districts with a verification non-response rate of 20% or more from the previous school year. Non-response is defined as a household that failed to reply to your request for verification. An email was sent to the authorized representative and claim contact if the district is required to do an error-prone sample. If your school received the email requiring error-prone sampling this year, we suggest you flag those applications that meet the income criteria during the approval process. These error-prone applications become the sample pool. Once you determine the number of households that must be verified, randomly select that number from this targeted pool. If there are not enough applications in the targeted pool, then the school must randomly select from the remaining approved applications to meet the required sample size. Let's go through an example. A school district has a total of 45 free and reduced applications. 45 is multiplied by 3%, which equals 1.35. Again, when determining the number of applications to verify, always round up. The district must verify 2 applications. Let's say during the approval process that you flagged 5 of the 45 applications because they met the income criteria. You would randomly select the 2 required households to verify from those 5 applications. A confirmation review is required for each application selected for verification. The information reported on the application must be checked to see that the original approval was correct. The confirming official must be someone other than the person who originally approved the application. This individual must sign and date the application after confirming the original eligibility determination. School districts have the option of directly verifying applications selected for verification before contacting the households. In this process, the district is matching eligible students with the state's Medicaid School Children's Health Insurance Program database. The option of direct verification is available in the online CNP system. To access direct verification, click on Applications and in the drop-down box, select Direct Verification. Detailed instructions for conducting direct verification can be found on the Nutrition Services website. Schools can enter individual student information or upload a CSV file with information for a group of students. The application number can simply be a number that is assigned to an individual application or a CSV file of applications. There are 7 possible results. Rejected means the student is already directly certified, as you need to select another application. Not matched, you will need to send this household the verification letter. If the online response matches the district's approval of the household, you have completed the verification for this household. You did not need to contact the household. For purposes of documentation, we ask that you print a copy of the online response you received. However, if the online response does not match the district's determination, then you must send a verification letter to this household requesting information to be sent in. The online verification report, to be reviewed later in this presentation, has 2 direct verification questions. Each household must be notified in writing that they have been selected for verification. Please use Attachment F, We Must Check Your Application. Households must provide documentation to confirm income or participation in a categorical eligible program. Provide the household a due date for submitting the required written evidence. Typically, give them 2 weeks. A toll-free telephone number must be provided for households to call if they have questions. If a household selected for verification moves during the process, another application must be selected. School districts must follow up at least once to contact the household when the household does not adequately respond to the request for verification. The follow-up date and manner of follow-up must be documented. School districts are required to document all contacts with the household regarding verification. Follow-up may include resending the original notification letter, contacting the household by phone, email, or mail. If the family is contacted and they tell you they no longer qualify for meal benefits, this does count as a verified response. This is important because a non-response can trigger the required error-prone sampling the next school year. When the household provides proof of their income, the school district is required to calculate the household's income based on the documentation submitted. This income must be compared to the income eligibility guidelines to determine if the household still qualifies for meal benefits. If overtime is reported on the pay stub, the school must contact the household to determine if the amount listed is earned on a regular basis. If it is a one-time or sporadic, do not include it. You can document the household contact right on the pay stub. A tax return can only be used to determine income for a self-employed individual. The only line items you look at on the tax return are 12, 13, 14, 17, and 18. If income is reported on line 7 for wages, salaries, and tips, this means a household member is employed by someone outside the home, and a pay stub must be provided for that individual to verify current income. Also, Never use the figure reported on line 37 called adjusted gross income when determining a household's income. Let's look at an example of calculating income from two pay stubs. Mary Jones is a single parent with 2 children who was approved for free meals based on a reported annual income of $15,000. She has provided 2 pay stubs. With Job 1, she is paid monthly, and with Job 2, she's paid every 2 weeks. Since there are multiple frequencies of income, we are required to calculate annual income. Districts are required to show their calculations. When we compare the household's total income to the eligibility guidelines, this household still qualifies for free meals. All households must be notified in writing of the results of verification. Please use Attachment G. We have checked your application. The letter sent to the households may indicate that there has been no change in their benefits, or their benefits are increasing, which means the household was approved for reduced and now qualifies for free. Or their benefits are decreasing, which means the household was approved for free and now qualifies for reduced, or the household was approved for free or reduced and must now pay full price for their children's meals. When a change occurs, if the household benefits increase, make the change immediately or within 3 operating days. If a household's benefits are reduced or terminated, school districts are required to give the household a 10 calendar day notice. The date the letter is sent counts as day 1. The 10 calendar day notice also applies to the school district. If the letter states that the benefits change on November 20th, then that is the same day the school makes the change in their database. If a household's benefits are reduced or terminated and they reapply for benefits, they are required to provide written evidence of their income. Verification record keeping. For each application selected for verification, keep copies of all the household written evidence and correspondence. This includes all letters sent, documents submitted such as pay stubs or agency letters, a record of any follow-up that was done, and complete a tracker form, which is attachment H2 for each household selected for verification. This form basically organizes what has been done with each family throughout the verification process. We ask that you show the date the confirmation review was completed, the date the verification letter was sent, and the date the response was due back to the household, and the number of students on the application. Next on the tracker, check the household's original approval, and then check the verification results. On the bottom portion of this form, we ask that you record the date the verification result letter was sent and the date the verification was completed. The form should be signed by the district's verifying official. Keep all verification materials together. You can staple documents to the back of the application, or if these documents are kept in a separate file, be sure to include a copy of the household's application. The online verification report must be completed by all school districts and residential child care institutions by November 15th. A paper copy of the form is available with instructions on our website. You will need to log into the CNP system with your user ID and password. To access the report, click on the dark blue menu bar and select Verification Report. Next, you will select school year 2017-18. There are 5 sections in the FNS 742 verification report. Let's go through each section of the online report. The contact information will autofill with the district's food service manager. Please update this section with the contact information about the person who completed the verification report, in case we have any questions. Section 1 is to be completed by all SFAs, including those schools and residential child care institutes that are exempt from the verification process. In column A, record the number of feeding sites, and in column B, report the number of enrolled students as of October 31st. Schools complete 1-1 and RCCIs complete 1-2, and depending on their situation, they will complete either line 1-2A or 1-2B. Section 2 is to be completed by schools operating alternate provisions. In Nebraska, this would be schools participating in Provision 2 or the Community Eligibility Provision, CEP. Lines 2-1 through 2-B apply to schools operating Provision 2 for both breakfast and lunch. Which lines to complete depends on whether it is a base or a non-base year for these schools. CEP schools must complete line 2-3. If the school operates Provision 2 for breakfast only, complete line 2-5. Section 3, students approved as free, eligible, not subject to verification. This section must be completed by all SFAs, even SFAs not required to conduct verification. SFAs exempt from the verification process include CEP-only schools, Provision 2 schools participating in both breakfast and lunch in a non-base year, and residential child care institutions. For those SFAs, check the box in 3-1. 3-2 refers to students on the district's direct certification list who were approved based on SNAP benefits. This would also include any students who were added to the list because of they reside in the same household with a student receiving SNAP benefits. Students with multiple qualifiers such as SNAP and TANF or SNAP and Medicaid free would be reported in this section because SNAP always takes precedence over all other qualifiers. 3-3 refers to students on the direct certification list who were approved based on TANF, C for foster, or Medicaid free benefits. Others to include in this section would be homeless, runaway, migrant, and Head Start students. Again, included in this number would be any other students who were added to the list because they reside in the same household with a student receiving these benefits. The exception to this rule are students certified with the C, foster child, only or migrant students. Benefits do not automatically extend to other students in these households. Do not include any Medicaid reduced students in this report. 3-4, you would include any students in this section if the household provided their letter from the Department of Health and Human Services certifying they are eligible for SNAP benefits. In Section 4, you will report both the number of applications and the number of students approved for free or reduced price meals based on applications. Make sure this section does not include any applications for students that are on the district's direct certification list. The most common mistake in this section is reporting the number of applications and students in the wrong column. Column A is for the number of applications and column B is for the number of students. The number of applications you report are based on October 1st data, when you selected your sample pool, and the number of students you report is based on October 31st data. If the number of students changes during the month of October, you can change that number, but do not change the number of applications. Changing the number of applications could result in changing the number of applications the district is to verify. Here's an example of Section 4 completed. We will go through each question. 4-1, for applications that were approved with a master case number and were not on the direct certification list. Report the number of applications in column A and the number of students in column B. In 4-2, report the number of free applications on file as of October 1st and the number of students approved as of October 31st. In 4-3, report the number of reduced applications on file as of October 1st and then again the number of reduced students as of October 31st. Based on the number of applications reported in column A, you must add these numbers up and multiply by 3% to determine the number of applications to verify. You then enter this number in question 5-5. In Section 5, all SFAs report the results of verification. Schools and residential child care institutions not required to complete verification, will check the box in 5-1. No other reporting is required. All other SFAs will indicate if the process was completed by November 15th in 5-2. The verification method used is reported in 5-3, depending on the type of verification that was required. Schools notified by email that they must conduct error-prone verification are to select Standard and report the total number of error-prone applications they had on file in 5-4. So if this example, the SFA would select one application to verify from the 3 error-prone applications. All other SFAs will select alternate 1 in 5-3. You are required to enter the number of applications selected for verification in 5-5. The number to verify is based on the total number of applications reported in Section 4, Column A, multiplied by 3% and rounded up. Question 5-6 is asking about direct verification, which we discussed earlier. If you conducted direct verification, check the box. If you did not, leave it blank. In 5-7, if you were able to confirm an application with the direct verification process, report the number of applications in Column A and the number of students in Column B. Finally, the SFA must report the results of verification by completing the table in 5-8. The columns across the top, labeled A, B, and C, represent the household's original eligibility. The 4 rows in each column represent the results of each household verified. Finally, the last box, VC-1, is to be completed if the SFA selected additional applications to verify for cause. If no applications were selected, enter NA in the box. If an application was verified for cause, you must report the results of this application in Table 5-8. For example, if the district was required to verify one household and also selected another application for cause, the table in 5-A must show the results of these 2 applications. When you are finished with the report, click Save. If everything was completed correctly, you are finished with the verification report. The Civil Rights Summary is attachment H1 and can be found on our website. The Civil Rights Summary is the district's racial, ethnic report for the current year. Complete this report by November 15th and keep it on file at your school. You can find additional information needed to complete the verification process on our website. You can click on the links above to access the resources. Thank you for your time. Please feel free to contact us if you have any questions or need additional assistance.